for the Orbeez! Don't crash! Oh, change my clothes! Ready for another go?
With the 3DS eShop shutting down next year, I thought it would be a good idea to buy all of the cheapest games available. Then again, I also thought Will Smith was the most level-headed actor in Hollywood, so maybe this wasn't the best decision. Anyways, I set a $1 maximum price tag per game, and surprisingly, there aren't very many. I already covered the Queen TV Game 2 and Gal Galaxy Pain in a previous video, so those were out, meaning I only had 7 games left. Being in Canada, our 3DS eShop is missing a lot of titles, but I figured this video would still be worth making, if only for 2 games, Soccer Shootout and Zara the Fastest Fairy. Soccer Shootout because the graphics are just so mind-blowing, and Zara because, well, you saw the trailer and probably have that song stuck in your head just like I do. Unfortunately, a few of the games only work on a new 3DS model, and mine doesn't have a capture card. So you know what that means, the return of the crooked iPhone 7 gameplay footage. The cheapest game of the bunch, Soccer Shootout is like Rocket League if Rocket League was terrible. Except Soccer Shootout costs money, whereas Rocket League is free. You play as a Kinder Egg, you tap a ball forward, and another Kinder Egg travels back and forth on a track to block you. You either put the ball in the goal or the goalie stops it, and that's the game. There's a counter on the screen, but you don't chase any high scores or anything, mainly because they aren't even saved. And I played this thing up to 25 attempts and literally nothing changed. I got so bored that I ran backwards just to see what would happen. For whatever reason, a bunch of cones show up, but you can't actually do anything with them. And if you put the ball in the net on the far side, you're hit with an out of bounds warning and are sent back to the other side. Now, I know what you're thinking. If your girlfriend's name is Bella, you probably shouldn't take her near a dog park. And you're right, I do need to address something. I'm not a huge soccer fan, so I don't know all the rules, but I'm pretty sure you can't move the ball in a shootout. You just run up and kick the ball, right? In hockey you can move, but you always have to be moving forward. In Soccer Shootout, you can move in any direction, run into the goalie, and even hit the post and keep dribbling. Not only is this game terrible, but how exactly is this a shootout? Coming in at 88 cents, I had sky-high expectations for 3D Retro Dungeon Puzzle Challenge. After all, it's almost 9 times more expensive than Soccer Shootout, so that must mean it's 9 times better. Except 9 times 0 is still 0. Uh-oh. To get the good out of the way first, it has more voice acting than a Pokemon game. For the bad, each level is about 20 to 30 seconds and there's only 11 of them. It controls oddly as well. For a game that only works on a system with a nub, you turn with the analog stick and move forward or backward with L or R. And the camera angle is a bit weird too. If the character in this game was a real person, they would have horrible neck pain. To the game itself, you travel around a retro dungeon. You have unlimited arrows to break barrels, and that's it. There are sleeping goblins a couple of times, but they do nothing unless you wake them. One level has you walking across quicksand, but if you walk for more than 2 seconds at a time, you sink in and get game over. I literally closed my eyes and just kept pushing R every few seconds to move forward. After a couple minutes, I reached the end. Not exactly exhilarating gameplay there. There's also the world's easiest maze thrown in near the end, and all of this is capped off with the simplest boss fight in history. If you don't move, you can hit the witch with arrows and she can barely damage you, resulting in an easy win. And that was 3D Retro Dungeon Puzzle Challenge. About $1 after taxes for less than 10 minutes of gameplay. It wasn't unplayable, though the load times are kinda long. I was just left baffled when the game ended. I sincerely thought it was the tutorial and it would open up to a bigger campaign with swords and magic and stuff. Nope, 11 short levels and that's it. Now for the game you all came here to see, Zara the Fastest Fairy. A whopping 98 cents before taxes, I was super hyped after watching the trailer. Before I talk about the game though, I'll give you 2 guesses as to what I thought about it. Actually, it's more like one oddly shaped guess that is nowhere near properly proportioned to the rest of its body. Zara is an endless runner where you play as a fairy from Ocarina of Time. You can move Zara in all the directions, dodging trees and shiny spike things, all while collecting rupees. Believe it or not, it's not horrible. As you collect those rupees, your speed increases. The faster you go, obviously the tougher the game gets, with obstacles coming in your face that much quicker. Unfortunately, Zara ate some Taco Bell before going on this run, so your vision is obscured by her diamond fart trail, making it unnecessarily difficult to see what's ahead of you. This makes getting past 100 miles per hour a real feat. All the bottom screen does is show you how many rupees you've collected. It also includes goals for you to reach, encouraging you to gather a certain number of rupees. And if you're successful, you unlock the ability to change Zara's color. I gotta say, I wasn't going to recommend this game, but when I turned Zara to that striking green, my mind didn't change. Zara's not a bad game per se, I'm just not sure you should be spending the time here as opposed to the hundreds of better games out there for 3DS. I do wish Zara was a bit worse, instead of being in that video game review purgatory where it's not downright horrible, though it isn't worth playing either. Probably my favorite part about Zara is the home screen. You can make Zara get bigger and spin her around and see just all the intricate detail the designers put into her. My least favorite part is how literally every single button does nothing. You can only use the analog stick to move and touchscreen to change Zara's color. There's not even an option to pause the game, though I guess that does mean you can play with one hand if you want. Out of all the new 3DS exclusive eShop games under $1, Zara is the best, not that it had much competition. The music's kinda catchy, and after 30 minutes of playtime, I didn't hate myself. Well, not any more than usual. In fact, I might even admit to having a bit of fun with Zara. Now we move to the normie 3DS games. Crawler's Game Pack is a game pack with 4 games in its sack. Space Shooter, Dodge It, Color Switch, and Zigzag Ball. Space Shooter is an endless shooter. Your ship shoots automatically and enemies scroll down. You can move around the board and your goal is to shoot down enemies and get a high score. The first enemy is an asteroid, the second is a ship that doesn't shoot, the third is a ship that shoots once in a while, and the fourth is a ship that fires its load in a straight line. And that's Space Shooter. It's extremely basic, complete with no power-ups and no rewards for going after the tougher enemies. You can literally just shoot asteroids all day while dodging the ships, and that'd be considered a good strategy. I don't know if there's anything else to Space Shooter because I gave up after 10 minutes and a score of 2000 due to boredom. Honestly, if I was patient enough, I could have played this all day and never seen the game over screen. It's that easy. I was hoping the game pack would have that one standout title to justify a purchase, and Dodge It isn't it. However, Dodge It is surprisingly decent. You play as a white ball dodging black balls while collecting blue balls in a 3x3 square. Unlike Space Shooter, Dodge It actually offers up a challenge. Like Space Shooter though, it's more basic than a girl named Becky. The concept is never expanded on. Honestly, I don't know why the developers didn't just make Dodge It a standalone game with progressive difficulty and bigger boards. Also, don't ask me why the 2 screens show the same thing, that just seems like a waste. With Color Switch, you watch a loading screen for about 10 seconds before fumbling around with the touchscreen for a minute before realizing you need to tap the touchscreen to make the ball jump. The goal of Color Switch is to get your ball through the same colored square to proceed, all while avoiding the other colors. It's a great concept ruined by horrible load times and janky controls. There's almost zero margin for error when it comes to hitting your ball against the wall, resulting in too many random deaths, and the ball never seems to move the distance you want it to with each tap. Where Dodge It controls extremely well given its simple concept, Color Switch requires the perfect touch with each move and isn't forgiving if you're slightly off. Instead of mirroring both screens, they should have had the top screen be a preview of what's upcoming and given us more space between obstacles. This isn't challenging or rewarding, it's just frustrating. And having to wait for the game to reload doesn't do Color Switch any favors, especially when you factor in the technical issues of screen tearing and colors just not loading in. If the developers had nailed the controls and fixed the bugs, this could have also been expanded into a standalone game and been good. Finally, we have Zigzag Ball. Big ball theme going on here. The concept is simple. The ball rolls automatically and you have to touch the screen to change its direction. They even add in a twist with the screen going dark, upping the difficulty. But those technical issues are back and in greater numbers. Zigzag Ball requires precision, but it constantly stutters and freezes for the first 5 to 10 seconds, causing you to fall off for no reason other than the game collapsing under its own weight. If you can survive that though, Zigzag Ball is actually good. It's just a nice little engaging game. However, once you master the gameplay after about 5 minutes, it becomes painfully easy. I ended up giving up at 2,000 points due to boredom again. Still, Zigzag Ball is fun while it lasts. Can I recommend Crawler's Game Pack? No. It feels more like a tech demo than a full release. That being said, if the developers are listening, take Dodge It and Zigzag Ball, expand the concepts, and put them on the App Store. The core of some good games are there. And I'd even suggest making Color Switch its own game as well, just improve the controls and make it more forgiving. Throw Space Shooter in the trash, that one plain sucks. Despite me thinking it was an Angry Birds spinoff, Birdmania 3D is an endless flyer. Mojo is constantly moving forward and it's up to you to dodge trees and collect stars and balloons. By using a turbo boost, you kill other birds and increase your score multiplier. Birdmania is exactly what you think it is based on that description. It's simple and it works well enough, it's just lacking in variety. There's plenty of these types of games on mobile though, so I'd be an idiot if I didn't suggest playing something like Jetpack Joyride instead, or any of the hundreds of other games just like Bird Mania. If your only system is a 3DS, do I recommend spending $1 on Bird Mania 3D? No, not at all. That's because there's a follow-up, Bird Mania Christmas 3D. Yes, a better version of Bird Mania 3D exists, meaning I wasted $1 on the original. But if this video gets 1,000 views, then I might make my money back. With the Christmas version, it's literally the exact same game. Same collectibles, same enemies, same gameplay, same music. The only difference is the snow and the welcome addition of online leaderboards. Out of all the games in this video, Bird Mania Christmas 3D is probably the most put together, but if I was forced to play either Bird Mania or Zara, I'd probably choose Zara. Even though you've probably never heard of it before, Crazy Chicken is a franchise that saw several entries on DS and even has a big presence on Switch for some reason. So you know how Chicken Shoot on Wii is regarded as one of the worst video games of all time? It's like the developers of Crazy Chicken played Chicken Shoot, thought it was amazing, and decided to make their own version. Here, you're placed on movie sets and have to shoot chickens. I'll admit that the controls work well. You move around with the analog stick, aim with the touchscreen, and shoot with the L button. Also, some of the chickens do things on set like try to use the memory wipe from Men in Black. The bad of Crazy Chicken is that the whole goal is to shoot as many chickens or objects until the counter on the bottom screen reaches 0. Racking up a high score and shooting chickens that are further away helps, but there's no time limit, no stakes. No chickens attack you like when you're Link hitting them with a sword just to see what happens. All you have is 200 bullets. When those run out, it's game over. Plus, the gameplay is achingly repetitive. The chickens all make the same noise when hit, the gun makes the same noise when it shoots, and having to reload after just 8 shots gets annoying. To help break up the monotony a little, there are certain things you can do to earn bonus points, like playing Simon Says to open a Stargate or using electricity to weaken a Franken chicken. These distractions add only a few minutes to Crazy Chicken because it has just 2 levels, science fiction and horror, and they're very small. You can try to extend the life of Crazy Chicken by getting a good high score or unlocking all the achievements, but if you're anything like me, you'll be done after 10 minutes. I won't say Crazy Chicken is an offensively bad game, it's just boring. If you're in the mood to blast some chickens on the same 2 levels over and over again for $1, here you go. If you're forcing me to rank all of these bad games, I guess I'll put Crawler's Game Pack in first because of its potential, even though it was a disappointment overall. Zara's in second, Bird Mania Christmas is in third, Crazy Chicken in fourth, the Dungeon Game in fifth, Bird Mania 3D in sixth, because no one should ever buy it, and Soccer Shootout is in 7th because it's not really a game. Are any of these 7 truly worth buying before the eShop closes? No. Now can I please go back to playing good games? No? Fine, let's see what other trash I can find on the 3DS eShop.